welcome to the BartenderHQ.com podcast from the Game of Thrones themed bar that is the Vanguard in Birmingham. I'm David Eden-Sangwell and that is Samuel Bolton.
Hello.
We got it right for once. Unbelievable. Guys, thank you for joining us. This is going to go out on YouTube and also on the podcast with the new audio at the beginning, which will have just happened. Mm-hmm. Have you listened to the new song?
No.
Oh, good. And on today's show, we are talking Japan. Sam's been there. I've not. Let's discuss. That was a bit Good Mythical Morning.
Yeah. You can't say that though, see you.
They don't mind.
No, it'll be fine.
So Sam, you went to Japan over Christmas and stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of bothering to open your bar on time. Mm-hmm. Do tell us, what did you see? What did you do? Where did you go? What did you eat? Who did you drink?
We went to a lot. We did a bit too much actually. And the thing, I think, kind of good point to state is we never went there for the drinks.
Okay. Was it awful? Because it sounds like you had a terrible time.
No, we had an amazing time.
Good.
Absolutely. But we didn't go there for the drinks. We went there for the culture, and the drinks just kind of happened while we were there. But no, it was really, really interesting. Like the whole of the way Japan is fantastic. Their culture for drinking, everything they do, the way that they perceive food and drink out there is just very different to here.
Okay.
So it is interesting to talk about.
Yes.
I think, what are your perceptions of Japan?
Samurais.
Yeah. Didn't see any of them.
Rude animation.
I saw a bit of that.
There's a Disneyland.
Didn't see that. My perception was everywhere was going to be minimalist, tea rooms, sort of tranquility.
I feel like it's kind of really packed though.
Yeah.
Like, that would be my guess.
Yeah. And
so where in Japan did we go? Yeah.
So we flew into Tokyo. We spent about, off the top of my head, it was about 8 days there. Okay. We then trained to Ito, which is kind of a little bit south, about 2-3 hour journey to the Ito Peninsula. It's a little hot spring town, not much there. Only really gets busy in the cherry blossom season. Okay. We then went to Mount Fuji.
When is the cherry blossom season?
It's kind of like springtime. Okay. But cherry blossom, because Japan's such a big country, which not most people realise, it's quite a big landmass. And it's quite long, so the cherry blossom season moves across. Okay. So that's quite cool. Some people, there's a thing, people will literally follow the cherry blossom season throughout the year. So it only lasts for a few weeks, but if you follow it, you can do it for a few months.
Got you. Oh. And because you were there sort of end of December through beginning of January, right? Yeah. Is it quite into the southern hemisphere? So was that summertime or was it?
No, it was cold.
It was cold?
Yeah. Okay. Quite cold. Wasn't ridiculous. It wasn't as bad as the UK can get. Okay. But I'd say in general the weather was more
cold?
Continuous.
Continuous.
You know what I mean? There wasn't
stable.
Stable. Yeah, that's a good word. There was
stable weather in Japan.
The entire time we were there, it was pretty much the same climate. It rained maybe twice. Okay. And when it rained. Right. And then it stopped. I'd say their weather in general is more. Everyone
digital.
Says they have 4 seasons. Right. And yeah, it wasn't like the UK where every day is slightly different, but it's and then you get a feel for it. It wasn't like
Scotland has 4 seasons, but most days.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas they have 4 solid seasons. Okay,
gotcha.
So then we went to Mount Fuji. Then we went to Osaka, Kyoto. We went to Kobe just for lunch. Okay. And had the beef. Yeah, and then we went to
How insane is let's not skip over the insane priced beef.
Yeah, it was insane.
How good was it?
Pounds.
A few £100. How was it?
Sterling as well, not even weight.
How good was this?
Really good. I don't know if it was a few £100 good. Okay. I don't know how you would judge that, but it was very lightly seasoned. And
would you purchase it again if you were there next week?
Yes, because it's an experience.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't buy it because I'm hungry. I would buy it for the experience that goes along with it. Okay. Same that way,
And so, what is this experience? So let's stop and let's talk about what that experience might have been.
It's not an experience as in like there's no added extras and bonuses. You order your food and it comes, but it's the experience of trying some of the most expensive beef in the world.
Okay.
And what goes along with that, the size, and the actual meal itself becomes, when you view it as we're here to try this, not when we didn't stop in for lunch because we were hungry.
Gotcha.
We went there because
it was a destination that you were going to.
Same with like a Michelin meal. You don't go because you're hungry. You go to Greg's because you're hungry.
But then nobody buys a cocktail because they're thirsty.
Exactly, yeah. So
like,
when you view it as an experience, it's definitely worth the money, and it's great, and it's something to say you've done. Wouldn't do regularly.
Okay.
But it was the best beef I've ever had.
But it was a great treat.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Cool.
Something I want to do with other people who haven't done it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Just to see what their reaction was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so we did that. Then we went to Akashi to visit Akashi Tai Sake Brewery.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So
what does it look like?
It looks like a warehouse. You'd never know. You'd never know it was anything it isn't.
It's undercover.
Not undercover, but just very understated. Their signage is just a little sign out the front.
Okay.
Now we'd pre-arranged to go and visit them, so they knew to expect us and whatnot. You walk in, it's a really nice little shop for the local area. Mm-hmm. There's a few really cool bits of branded stuff that you don't see in the UK. We did buy some because you couldn't get in the UK, and then about a week later the UK decided they were going to buy some in.
Yes.
So that was annoying. But we got 2 products. We tried 2 products there that don't come into the UK.
Okay.
One they called it a non-alcoholic sake. It wasn't anything like sake. It was more like, imagine rice pudding.
Right.
And it's basically they lightly ferment the rice, and then just I couldn't fully understand how they made it, but it's basically like a liquid rice pudding.
Okay.
And it was phenomenal, absolutely gorgeous. We also had Akashi, the local area is known for its strawberries. We had a sake that was literally just sake with strawberry puree. Okay. Nothing else added, no sugar, nothing, and it was gorgeous.
Just absolutely literally blended strawberries.
Yeah, cool. To the point of where I'm going to be trying to recreate it because it's so nice now. The reason they don't ship it over here is because it's completely unfiltered.
It sounds like it might be really easy to recreate.
Yes.
I think what you need is probably sake and some strawberries.
But the ratio is what I've got to figure out. Because he also didn't tell us what kind of sake he used. And that will make a massive difference.
Okay. Yes, because this is something that you've actually mentioned to me, is that sake is not just what we think of over here as sake and in the Western world, but you were saying that sake just kind of means alcohol.
Yeah, so the actual word sake is just the Japanese word for alcohol. Mm-hmm. So over there, if you were to just say sake, they would know what you mean. Especially as if you're a foreigner ordering sake, they would know what that means.
Which is?
If you order sake, they would know that you mean rice wine.
Okay, cool.
But if
just covering that in case there's anyone listening.
But if you're a regular, if you're a Japanese person, you would order what you call a Nihonshu.
Okay.
And Nihonshu is the Japanese, loosely translates to Japanese alcohol.
Okay.
Which they know as what we would call sake.
Right.
But I think there must have been like a translation thing when they brought it over here. Sake is much easier to say. It's also, they would call everything sake because it means alcohol. So.
But they would only need to specify something that's coming from Japan that's kind of their specialty as being...
Yeah. I think the Western world heard the word sake and went, that's what we've got.
That's what this is. Yep.
Actually, it's called Nihonshu, but now they know that that's our perception of it. So if you were to go and order a sake, you would get what you want. Okay. You wouldn't get a confused look because they're not silly.
Yeah. That's I guess it's like one of us going into a bar in the UK and going, "Can I have spirit, please?"
Yeah.
I would like alcohol.
Yeah, it's exactly like you going, "Oh, can I get alcohol?" We would be confused.
Yes.
But
the Japanese people, they've got it covered. they know how dumb we are.
Yeah. They just know the perceptions of their
and that's
lifestyle.
Cool.
But no, the sake place was really, really interesting. I'd never knew anything about sake, didn't know how it was produced or anything. I did my research before I got there so that I could go in with a level of understanding so that I could learn more when I was there. And I'm glad I did that. But there wasn't a big language barrier, which was pretty good as well. The president who was showing us around had very good English.
The president showed you around?
Yeah, the president of the company. Yeah.
Oh, of the company, okay.
Yeah, not Trump.
Not the Japanese president.
He was in meetings.
Took you on a bit of a tour.
He was in meetings when we got there.
Okay.
So we got the tour. We got shown how they do everything. They've just put in some copper pot stills, and they're looking at making a Japanese gin and whiskey and all sorts. So it was really, really cool company, and their products are all fantastic. But no, yeah. So sake was super interesting. There's so many different styles. I think the thing about sake is the more you start to learn, the more you realise how little you know, because it's such a big world. Sake is far, far more diverse than anything like whiskey, I think.
Yeah.
Because whiskey, you normally just get the country, and then whether it's peated or unpeated, and then you kind of get a grasp of everything else.
Yeah, and you could get different barrel finishes and things like
that.
But the base is always pretty standard.
Whereas with sake, it's like, first off, you've got to, what type of rice you're using. Then they mill that rice. So if they mill that rice, two different, like, they all mill it the same way. It's milled, just milled, but the percentage of milling, that massively changes the outcome of the product and the price. And
is that kind of like how coarse it is?
Basically, so yeah, when you look at a grain of rice, when you break it down, the centre is where the majority of the starch is, and that's what you want to create into sake. So they mill the outside off, essentially. They polish it, essentially.
Okay.
And that just takes the outside layers off so that you can release more starch. So the more you polish it, the more starch you're going to get to, and then the starch is what creates the pure,
higher
clean
percentage
flavour.
of starch you've got in there.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what will create the flavour and the nuances. So the more starch, the more kind of floral and more nuances you're going to get in the final product. So that's a factor. You've then got factors of filtering. You've got factors of if you add water. Or if you add alcohol, especially alcohol, there's a designation. So Daijingo and Jinjo are two different things. The only difference is either the milling percentage or if they've added alcohol.
Okay.
All these little things change as you go through. The filtering, if it's filtered or unfiltered, that has a different effect. There's loads. There's more that I don't know yet as well. Like the more that I dig deep into it and learn, the more I've realised how little I know.
Yeah.
And how.
But is it something that you're going to look into a lot more deeply?
Yeah, massively, absolutely.
Yeah,
so interesting. Like, I find that if anybody's out there who's had sake before, it's a very odd flavour. It's a little like when I first tried it, it's a little bit. It kind of tasted stale. It's just an odd flavour that we don't get.
Yeah.
But when you learn that sake and the Japanese culture in general is all about these nuances and about subtlety, you start to understand it more. Like,
so is it almost like the kind of like the Surly's kind of flavours that you get from wines and that kind of thing, or
I think it's way not you get without it's bready, it's starchy.
Okay.
You get a lot of that core being made from rice. You get a lot of that kind of rice flavour, but obviously we all know rice doesn't really taste of much. So but I find the more you try, the more you start to understand, especially when you learn about the qualities. Like my favourite is Daijingo style because it's much more floral, and that's how you kind of judge.
And where does that floral flavour come from? Is that from the rice, or are there some sakes that have like a botanical load added? Or
I mean,
infusions or anything like that?
There probably is. In standard sake that you buy, isn't no. But the floralness comes from a mixture of adding some kind of distiller's alcohol, which is sometimes done, and that normally raises the ABV. But then it's normally based on the milling percentage. So the more you mill it, the more interesting flavours you're going to get out, and that also depends on the type of sake. The type of rice that you make it from will also give different flavours. But they have. I'm assuming there are many different varieties they use, but everywhere we went, they just called it sake rice, and I'm assuming sake rice is broken down into. Okay. It's like just saying it's made from grains.
Yeah, it's made from like.
But there's a distinct types of rice they use for
brewer's
sake.
Grain.
Yeah. There's distinct types that they use which are better. That's probably stuff that we wouldn't eat.
Cool.
But yeah, in general, and sake just blew my mind about the world of sake and how interesting it was. What's available on the markets and how different it is here and there, and learning the old warming up and not warming up. Obviously in the UK we all go, you got to warm it up. from what I understand from talking to people, the warming was done with bad sake.
Right. Okay.
But because it's become a thing in the Western world, they now create sakes that are made to be warmed.
Oh, okay. So they kind of reacted to the culture.
Originally, it was they said warm it up because they were selling us crap.
Yeah.
Because they were selling us sake that they didn't want, or they couldn't sell. So they said warm it up; it would be much nicer because it hides a lot of those harsh flavours. And now
that's weird
it's
because
become a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It's become a cultural thing for us to do, and especially more in America. So now they have to create sakes that work both ways, and it's now being embraced by the sake world as something that does happen, and it's a new way of drinking it.
I just think it seems weird that you'd warm it to hide those flavours when with wines and with spirits and things like that, when you chill stuff down, it reduces the kind of flavour that you get from things, and that's why you taste wines at room temperature, even white wines. I
would assume it was something like, I'm assuming there is some level of warming up in Japan as well. Mm-hmm. And they just said, just heat it up. Do you know what I mean? So I'm assuming that they probably don't have it hot. They have it warm. And then absolutely. We've just taken that a bit too far.
And in the same way that a lot of cognacs used to be served in the hot water-filled snifter glasses because someone once said that was the way that... Whereas really those glasses were just made as a marketing technique, weren't they? To differentiate... Once cognacs sort of came back to the market, because there was a big problem with grape harvests, and that's why people went away from cognacs and towards rums, I think. Some aged rums, and then this glass was actually brought back in as a marketing technique, so you could tell that people were drinking a cognac and not a rum.
From what I understand, there is a level of the glass is designed to sit in the palm of your hand because you would normally store them below room temperature,
so they come from the cellar.
So you would just have it to bring it, essentially use hand heat to just bring it to room temperature to stop it being cold.
And again, we took that too far.
Exactly, but I don't know.
Stuff in bev naps at the top of it
might also be what you said is true. I don't know enough about it.
I believe so. I've got a feeling it's Cavassier as well. Don't quote me on it, but we will do some research and try and find out. So what else did you...
Yeah, so we went there. One interesting thing we did try, while we were at the sake place was we actually got to eat what they call sake cake. So after they press the rice after the fermentation to take off the liquid, they're left with basically literally. It looks like if a child's made a Rice Krispie cake. Oh yeah, but it's a bit softer than that. Those. But it's quite mushy still. It's mushy.
The Cocoa Pops ones are better.
Yeah, and so we met. We got to eat some of that, and he literally said that's kind of thing that sells out because they only get so much of it.
Yeah,
they bag it up and literally they put it in there, and within a few days the whole lot sold
like
out.
Little rice cakes, I guess.
Yeah, and
but
people
wet at the time.
Yeah, people eat them with soups and stuff like that, and because it has this distinct sake flavour.
Cool.
The one we had, like I said, was from a very I think from a Daijingo, a very floral sake. It was beautiful. I was eating it. April didn't. She didn't like it. It was too weird of a texture and flavour for her to enjoy, but I really, really enjoyed it. Now every time I drink quality sake, I think back to that, and it's just like, this is great, I love it. Yeah, after that we went to, we visited Chichibu Whiskey Distillery.
That's one of my favourites.
Which was absolutely fantastic visit. Really small, really rural area. Probably the most rural place we went to the point where we got the train there and you had to get like a 35-40 minute taxi journey.
Okay.
The world's most expensive taxi journey because it was in the middle of nowhere and there was no other way of accessing it.
Gotcha.
And we got there and there's literally they were on like quite high up in the hills and there's just nothing around them. Like you can't walk to anywhere. There's just nothing there. And we got to walk around one of their cellars. They have other cellars off site. We got to walk around the distillery, see what they did. Very small production. We got to see them bottling. They were bottling while we were there, which was really good. Just beautiful place, beautiful company, lovely people. We got to try some of the old Hanyu stock as well from before the distillery was around. And we then got to try all their expressions that go out around the world. Really, really cool place, really interesting. The only distillery in the world where I've been asked to take my shoes off.
Fair enough. But that is part of the culture over there anyway, indoors and things, in a lot of places. Is that in homes or is that in businesses and stuff as well? Restaurants, for example?
Restaurants, no, that we went to. There was a few places like...
So not in McDonald's or anything?
No, there was a few places that, fancy places where you are expected to take your shoes off and stuff as you go in there. Like we went to the Michelin-starred tofu place, and you were expected to take your shoes off on arrival there.
Were you wearing flash socks?
No, can't remember that day. But yeah, so we did that, and then we also visited Bar High Five, which is regarded as one of the best bars in the world.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, Bar High Five is fantastic. We were lucky Ueno-san was there when we were there, so Ueno-san, for the people that don't know, Bar High Five is regarded as one of the best bars in the world. It's in the top 50 list numerous times, won many awards.
And what style of bar? A little bit of...
cocktail bar.
Okay.
Just a cocktail bar. There's no menu.
Is it kind of speakeasy looking? Is it dark wood? Is it, manga themed?
If it was in the UK, you would call it speakeasy because there's barely any signage.
It's a traditional bar.
But that's also just the way their bars are. They have one little sign, and sometimes you have to go in an elevator down. Like the way they have. So in the UK, and I assume America, I've not been, but most of Europe anyway, your businesses are on the first floor.
Okay.
They're on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The ground floor.
The ground floor.
Which is the first floor of America.
Yeah. So they're on the ground floor, whereas in Japan, they're all multi-story buildings. So your building entrance would be an elevator, and you'll go into the elevator, and there'll be a thing that says, right, first floor's this, second floor's that, third floor's that. And that was really. That took us a while to kind of not just realise, but to remember to find. Like you'd be walking around for ages, being like, we should be here according to Google Maps, and you're just you don't realise what floor that business is on. Okay. And there was a few points
That's interesting.
That was quite weird to see, but also it makes perfect sense because you get more out of
absolutely
your space. But there was no in where we live in Birmingham, we have areas for certain styles. Like if you want to go spend a lot of money, you go to certain areas. There just was mental. Like you would have super cheap restaurants above super expensive ones, above clothing shops, then a dentist, then another expensive restaurant. There was just no that I could tell,
work out yet.
That I could tell. Yeah, they have their areas that have certain things
that are traditional for something. Like for example, we're sat in the jewellery quarter of Birmingham, which has got a huge amount of history. Of the jewellery trade, and there's other areas, presumably the same in Tokyo, that would be specifically have history with a certain trade. Yeah,
but yeah, in general, High Five was fantastic. Saw some things in bars I've never seen. As soon as you sat down, you get given a little snack, which is something we've brought back and now do in the Vanguard. The actual drinks over there, they have no menu. You tell them what you fancy, and they basically direct you to something. They have a menu that you don't see, basically, because the bartenders will direct you to what they think you'll enjoy.
Okay.
Which is good and isn't. I like to browse, and especially when I'm somewhere like that where I want to take away ideas and learn and look. The only way I could do that was, we were sat at the bar. The only way I could do that was by looking at the bar and chatting to them. But these people are busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was a shame to not have a menu, and it's something that I don't personally agree with, but I get why they do it.
Yeah.
I understand it. I asked for a sake drink, and he went, we have one sake drink, and I was like, cool.
That one.
I'll take that one then. And it wasn't sake heavy.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm in Japan, I'm in one of the world's famous bars, I would like, this is what I want. I want something super Japanese. And in my head, that's what was a sake drink. But I suppose that's perception. Had that bar have not been in Japan, you wouldn't have noticed. It's very westernized bar. But I suppose that's why it's so predominant and well known, because it is a cool place, and also Ueno-san, who owns it, is constantly travelling around the world. He's kind of the person that really pushed. I said he's not the only person. He's one of the main people that pushed Japanese bartending culture over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. In general, I found drinks in Japan, cocktails, to be slightly sweet.
Okay.
All of them. I think they just have a sweet palate, or they don't balance as well. But we had some that were fantastic. There wasn't like a style.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like I was expecting no garnishes or, you know, everything to be in a certain style. There wasn't. They still have various styles. So whenever I do any Japanese drinks now, they're Japanese inspired, but they're not Japanese style because there wasn't one.
Yeah.
Highballs are interesting. So over there, everyone has whiskey highballs, which whiskey and soda.
And that seems to be something that's coming over to the UK as well a bit more now.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to. Japanese culture is definitely seeping over here. Glenfiddich are trying to own the highball. There's a few Japanese whiskey brands that are starting to.
Seems to be stuff coming through as well from Johnny Walker. I've been doing a bit of a push of like the Scotch and soda, which is obviously quite a traditional drink and that nobody's drunk for quite a while.
But a Scotch and soda is exactly a highball there.
Absolutely.
Over there they have them on draft. Like you name it, they do that. They have them on. You buy kegs.
I need that in my house.
You buy kegs from Suntory of highball, and you just serve them over ice with a bit of lemon. And yeah, it's a really interesting. It's one of them things that I still don't love. It's not for me.
Was that the draft cocktail type thing, or
no? The highball. Just
okay.
in general, the taste, and I'm not a huge whiskey fan anyway, so I kind of expect it to not love it. I did have some which were really good. Other than that, though, I think like we didn't. There wasn't. I'd love to come out and say it's mental. The drinks are weird. Everything. It's not. They have those weird things that you can seek out and find, and they have silly themed bars and.
So do we.
What? Yeah, exactly. So do we. Like some of the drinks we had. Some of the weirdest drinks we had weren't even alcoholic. Like we had 3D lattes.
Okay.
Which was something that I'd seen.
What is that?
Well, it's something that I saw on social media about 5 years ago. I was like, oh my god, everywhere in Japan must do this. Nowhere did it. Yeah, there's like 3 places in Tokyo that did it. And we sought out and found them and went to one. And it's literally, I think what they do is they essentially burn the milk.
Yeah.
To the point where it holds itself like a mousse.
Okay, so it's kind of popular like the Turbo Gin and Tonic is popular. It's popular according to like 20 articles
it's a BuzzFeed
on one day.
Popularity kind of thing. There are places that do them and you cancel them out, and it's definitely worth doing because it's just so cool to where we were. We didn't get to see them make it. It was all done in a back room behind a curtain, so you didn't see them make any of the coffees.
So they like sculpt the milk.
Yeah, so we'll put up a photo. We just ordered a 3D latte. That's all it said on the menu was 3D latte, and we'd gone for that, so we knew what we were getting. And we ordered a 3D matcha latte, and they just went away. So we had no idea what was going to come back. And I think it happened to be so me and my girlfriend are both fans of Pokemon. We'd both been to the Pokemon store out there, and it just happened to be I had a Pokemon hat on, and she had a Pokemon bag on. Just completely coincidental. We both were wearing something Pokemon related.
I think I've actually seen your picture on Instagram. Was it like a Pikachu latte?
Yeah. So they came back, and one of them was Pikachu and one of them was Snorlax. 3D
what was that other word that you said there?
Snorlax. It's Pokemon. Catch up.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, so we can put the photo up at this point as well because it's cool. And it's super interesting. Like it took a while. We're talking it was a 15-ish minute wait.
Yeah. That's not bad for art.
But yeah, it's art and it's cool and it's interesting. The latte just tasted like a latte, like a matcha latte. Like it wasn't anything flavour-wise different, but it was that level of garnish that they've gone through, and I think it was barely any more money.
Yeah. That's cool. And I know you've got an inspired Japanese event coming up.
Yeah.
Studio Ghibli meets the Vanguard. Where can people get tickets?
They're sold out.
They can't, it's sold out. Sorry guys, you're too late.
Yeah, so we sold out yesterday. Yeah, so we're doing again, just because I love it and have learned, and I was never an anime fan until we were going there. My girlfriend is an anime fan, so we were going to the Studio Ghibli Museum, so I started watching their films, really like them. We have a drink on our menu at the moment that's a drink inspired by My Neighbor Totoro, which is probably one of the most famous ones.
You've already plugged that one on the podcast before, Sam, I'm afraid. Go back to the previous one.
So the drink is essentially a twist on a Midori sour, but with yuzu and a few other ingredients added in.
Yeah.
Sells super well. Midori is a really interesting product.
It's really nice. I hate.
But yeah, so we're doing.
I like it, but I like it.
We're doing a whole night themed around those drinks.
Yep. can't wait. And we'll try and get down and do some video for you. Now, Sam's got to open the Vanguard, so thank you very much for spending the time. Hopefully this will sound okay. I know it's a little bit echoey in here, and there's guys outside that are like building. And but that's it for this BartenderHQ.com podcast. Join us for the next one when we do it. Let's talk about your trip to Japan, because you've got the footage now, and then I can add it over the top. Welcome to the best planned podcast in the world. I don't know why I decided to do the Jeremy
In the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
Clarkson, not Kyle. Different person.
Jeremy Kyle's not ideal.